Ethan Knight wasn't just rich, he was untouchable. At 35, he had more money than he could spend in 3 lifetimes. He owned private jets, luxury resorts, and companies that made the headlines every week. But what people didn't see was that Ethan hadn't truly lived in years. 2 years earlier, the woman he loved, his fiancée, Clara, died in a car accident. He was the one driving. And no matter how many zeros were in his bank account, he couldn't buy his way out of that guilt. He stopped smiling, stopped showing up to his own board meetings. The only thing he invested in anymore was his loneliness. Every night, he sat in silence inside his $40 million penthouse, staring out at the city lights, the same city that used to make him feel alive, now just a reflection of everything he'd lost. His assistant, Max, tried to help. "Sir, you've got to take a break," he'd say. Ethan would just nod, pretending to listen, but deep down, he'd already given up. Until one day, he snapped. He got in his car and drove, no destination, no plan. Just miles and miles of road and pain. Eventually, his car broke down near a quiet coastal town, the kind of place you'd never find on a map. That's where he met her. Lila Monroe. A painter, barefoot in the sand, with sunlight tangled in her hair and a streak of blue paint across her cheek. She looked like she belonged in another world. "Need some help?" she called out, smiling like life hadn't hurt her once. Ethan looked at her annoyed. "No, I'm fine." "Really?" "Because your car looks like it disagrees," she said, grinning. That smile, it disarmed him. And for the first time in 2 years, he actually felt something. She called her brother, who ran the local repair shop, and insisted Ethan stay at their small beach until the car was fixed. It wasn't luxury. No glass walls, no marble floors. But it had something Ethan hadn't felt in a long time: warmth. Every morning, he'd see Lila by the shore, painting. Her canvases were filled with color, sunsets, waves, laughter. The kind of joy he thought didn't exist anymore. One morning, she caught him watching her and said, "You know, you look like someone who forgot how to breathe." He blinked. "Maybe I did." She smiled softly. "Then let the ocean teach you again." That's how it started. She talked, he listened. She laughed, he remembered how. She painted, and somehow he began to see beauty again, not in wealth, not in things, but in moments. For weeks, they spent time together, cooking, painting, walking along the shore. She had this way of pulling life out of silence. But one day, she asked the question he'd been avoiding. "Who broke you, Ethan?" And he told her everything. The accident. The guilt. The sleepless nights. Lila didn't flinch. Didn't pity him. She just said, "You didn't lose her because you failed her. You loved her, and sometimes love doesn't mean forever. But that doesn't mean you stop living." That night, Ethan cried for the first time since Clara's death. And Lila didn't say a word. She just stayed, and sometimes, staying is the loudest kind of love. Slowly, he changed. He helped her rebuild her art center, which was falling apart. He started donating anonymously to the town. He smiled at strangers again. The billionaire who once ran from people was now painting murals with children by the beach. Then, one evening, she found out who he really was when she saw a magazine in the inn lobby. Ethan Knight, the billionaire who built an empire. She stared at the photo, then at him. "You're that Ethan Knight?" He sighed. "I didn't want you to know. I wanted to be just me. The man you helped bring back to life." Lila smiled gently. "Ethan, I never loved you for your name. I loved you for your heart, the one you thought was broken." Tears filled his eyes. He reached for her hand. "You healed me, Lila." She shook her head. "No, Ethan. You healed yourself. I just reminded you how." A year later, Ethan built the Clara Foundation for Healing Hearts, an art and therapy center named after his late fiancée, inspired by Lila's dream. And together, they helped thousands of people rebuild their lives, just like he had. Every morning, they'd walk by the ocean, where his story had once broken, now a symbol of peace, love, and second chances.